You chop down one redwood tree, you get 3 to 8 more almost immediately. Kinda cool, huh? This is actually how redwoods reproduce 85% of the time, through their roots by producing genetic copies of each other. See all those trees you see growing those little circles? They all have the exact same DNA. The only thing that makes each tree different is the amount of sunlight each tree gets. Now, to help create genetic biodiversity, these trees reproduce through seeds only 15% of the time. The reason why that percentage is so small has to do with all the dead sticks and leaves on the forest floor around us. That thick layer down there is known simply as duff, spelled D-U-F-F, just like Homer Simpson's favorite beverage. That thick layer of duff on the forest floor makes it mighty difficult for those little seeds to be fertile. Fire will then take out any invasive species of plants that are taking up valuable real estate on the forest floor. Fire will also take out any trees that are weak. When the Southern Pacific Railroad operated this line from 1886 to 1984, this little stretch from Rincon back here all the way to Santa Cruz was the steepest part of their entire system. And the Southern Pacific Railroad had train tracks that went from the entire western United States up and down the coast all the way to Louisiana. And this little spot right here, from Rincon to Santa Cruz, was the steepest section of their entire line. There also used to be a tunnel right there. That's why the redwood trees are cut back a little bit further. Back in the narrow gauge days, the tracks were a little bit tighter curves. I'll tell you that history on the way up the hill, don't worry. But right now our train is quickly approaching Highway 9. As we cross Highway 9, if you see anybody patiently waiting for our train to go by, give a nice happy wave. Try to cheer them up a little bit, because you'd be surprised how angry people get when you take 25 seconds of their life with a passing train. And we'll find out really quick who's having a fabulous Tuesday morning and waves back at us. We'll also find out who's too cool to wave at our train, making them an official grub-a-pot-a-miss. Remember, people love waving at people who are waving at them from a moving train. Great opportunity to practice your queen wave here. It's all in the wrist. We got some candidates, let's see. We got a white Nissan. Oh, he's built. Now, how about heading north? We got a silverish blue Toyota. And he waved. Wow. That's pretty good. There we go. Ooh. They did not see natural beauty at all. No, not even a little bit. All they saw were giant dollar signs, and unfortunately, by 1920, due to the lack of regulations then, they had successfully clear-cut 95% of all the old-growth redwood trees in the entire world. Only 5% existed in 1920, and even less of that today. Which is why that first piece of property called Big Trees we passed through originally is so special. That little forest has been standing there for at least 2 million years. Llamas are much uglier. They also spit. I found out the hard way. Don't get too close to those llamas. Where are they? Oh, they're in the back of the field. By the fence. Lying in the shade, those lazy llamas. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the industrial part of Santa Cruz. Brace yourself to hear the letter Q on the horn, like 4 times in a row. Here we go. Who's Brody out there? Hey, who's Brody? He's running with a bucket. He used to work here. By that big machine. He's a good kid. Off the right-hand side ahead of our train through this location. You can train will be entering a 900-foot-long tunnel that goes right underneath that church's parking lot. That church is a mission. It's been there for a very long time. The tunnel we're about to enter was built in 1878. But back in 1878, cars weren't really a thing, were they? No. You want to know what the parking lot used to be? It was a cemetery. Ew. But don't worry, it was exhumed in the 1890s, or at least that's what the newspaper said. But with this being said, you may want to take a seat or hold on to something before we enter the 900-foot-long tunnel, because it gets really dark in there, and I'd hate for a ghost to push you over in the darkness. Also, please keep anything you value inside the edge of the rail car as we pass through this 900-foot-long tunnel. Being dug in 1878, it gets really, really close to the sides of this train. So once again, your feet, your face, your children, your elbows, your sunglasses, your hats, anything you value, keep it inside the edge of the rail car as we pass through this 900-foot-long tunnel. Left-hand side of this train, you may see a yellow house with someone waving at you. That's Ellie and her mom and her dog Toby. Give her a nice happy wave. They've been waving at the train for a very long time. Alright, let me get these people moving real quick so they get out of the way of the train. We're going to be bringing that up to that rail car you originally boarded on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely stay at the boardwalk. I'll see you all in a little bit. And thank you for choosing Roaring Camp Airlines. Thanks for coming on down. If you need to get around, this guy has some amazing carts. They'll get you around the boardwalk for pretty cheap, too. If you want to check out the wharf. That's rich. Look for the
You good, you good.
is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Words to live by, honestly. This lasted all the way till about 1906, but I'll tell you what happened in 1906. After we passed through the 900-foot-long tunnel. Please keep anything you value inside the rail car. It's about to get incredibly dark. The tunnel gets really close to the sides of this train, so keep anything you value inside the rail car. Hold on. Please remain in the rail car you're currently in. Basically went right underneath that church, just a little bit to the side of it. When this train goes underneath that church, it actually shakes the church a little bit. Now, back when they used to run freight trains on this line, they ran them on a schedule, about the same time every day. And they would also shake the church. Well, the preacher of that church got hip to this. And he actually began timing his sermons to give the congregation the desired effect. I'll be back on the mic in just a little bit. Where are they at? There's the two. There they are. Come on. So majestic. Ah, she's great. Hi, honey. Love ya. You may also notice that strange light blue colored house over there with the strange blue pages on the second story. Those are not cages. I've been yelled at for calling them that. Those are screened-in patios for cats, ladies and gentlemen. They're known as patios. Because that is a cat... Because that is a... Wow, I just said that all crazy. Sorry about that. That's a cat hotel, ladies and gentlemen. It's called Kitty Hill Resort for Cats. My wife is the night manager there, and we live on property, right? Yes, Brooklyn, the emergency that may occur. It took them about 3 years, but by 1909, they were not compatible with the rest of their entire system. As a little fun fact, as we're going around the mountain, if you see the clearings on the mountainside of the train, that's usually where the narrow gauge train tracks used to be, because they had sharper curves. Right here used to be a trestle, though. They actually buried the trestle of dirt, creating a spill, making it much cheaper to maintain. So now this railroad is now compatible with in Los Gatos to about 1 mile north of Roaring Camp, where we're heading right now. Now the only reason why they didn't rip up these train tracks is because 1 mile north of Roaring Camp was a sand quarry that was still shipping sand out via this railroad. Now that lasted all the way to 19... Very excited about it. Unfortunately, got a little too excited. He worked so hard that winter, he got walking pneumonia. car at the tender age of 50. Leaving this business to his now widow, Georgia Clark, who was open cars in the middle were built in the 50s. The whole lot. He turned them into passenger cars. The locomotive at the front of this train was built in 1949. The locomotive. This train's old. Thanks for keeping it in mind. It's got a drop. Now, if you're absolutely terrified of heights, though, I don't suggest looking off the side of this train for the next 2 minutes. We're now going to be crossing the Powder Creek Trestle. Also, I've now been talking at you for about so I'm going to be quiet for a little bit and let y'all soak in this scenery. Location is the summit is because this used to be a whole town up here. This was the town of Redwood. Redwood is a lime producing town because this area is incredibly rich in limestone. But in 1946, the invention of Portland cement caught up with the lime industry and quickly put it out of business. This town was then abandoned and then donated to the state, where they did not hesitate to bulldoze every single trace of the town that used to be here. They did a pretty good job, however, they missed a few details. There's a couple of concrete or lime foundations coming up on the left-hand side of the train by the big stacks of rail. That's on the left. And on the right-hand side of the train is an old square telegraph pole once we cross the trail up here. Look on the little hill that runs parallel with the train tracks after you pass the trail. Just to the left of the big redwood tree is an old square telegraph pole. It's really hard to spot. If you spot it though, point it out. Help out the people around you. I point it out for you, but I'm stuck down here at the end of the train. If I get any further than one car, the PA starts getting all funky. I don't want to do that to you. below us is the cool, calm, clear, beautiful waters of the San Lorenzo River. We'll be running parallel with that river for the next few minutes. We do have a little bit of space on this train. I don't usually point it out to people, but if you want to make your way to the right-hand side, you'll have some wonderful views for the next few minutes. Usually my trains are so packed that no one can move around, so this is kind of a rare occasion, ladies and gentlemen. End of the tunnel. See, the other end was made out of steel and concrete because we were actually in the process of converting that entire tunnel to steel and concrete so someone could burn it down. But, well, they burned it down halfway through the project. That's Murphy's Law, you know? You know about Murphy's Law, right? Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. You know about cabbage and mayonnaise. Now, if you ever decide to come on down and visit this beautiful river and you bring a bunch of snacks and chairs and sodas and stuff, whatever, whatever you bring down, remember, you gotta take out of there too. There's no trash collection down here. And it's always a good idea to leave a place in better condition than you originally found it. Because remember, littering is for losers. Probably imagine. When Anna arrived on this next piece of property you're about to see and saw the majestic, ancient, old-growth coastal redwood standing tall and proud like they had been doing out here for a very, very long time, Anna thought it was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen in her entire life, especially after coming from San Francisco in the 1860s. Ew. The place was bleak. In the 1860s, right? So when her husband Joseph told her about his intentions to chop all the trees down, well, that didn't go over too well at all, dude. Anna became awfully cross with him, rightfully so. And then said something along the lines of, "It's a shame you're going to chop down all these trees, Joseph. The way you're chopping them down, there ain't going to be nothing left for our children to appreciate when they get older." That's about what she said, yep. And on that day, in 1867, something incredibly special happened. Something that did not really happen every single day of the week in that time period. And unfortunately, to this day. That is that Joseph Welch listened to his wife. That's right, take notes, gentlemen, sorry. Didn't even throw it into the bus like that. Thanks to Anna. Watch out for that tree. Thanks to Anna, all these trees you're now seeing were spared for future generations. Alright. Now the piece of property on the right-hand side of this train is still owned by the Welch family to this day. However, in 1959, our founder, Norman Clark, signed a lease agreement with the Welch family, allowing Roaring Camp at the end of this term. You guys did great. I've not yelled at any of you. Thank you. If you're feeling a little hungry or thirsty after your incredibly long journey on our short railroad, you may want to stop by Georgie's Cookhouse here in town. They should be open, offering the finest amusement park food and refreshments in all of Belgium. There's also a lovely little museum in the back of the general store, but if you've been on history, it also has pictures. The museum's kind of new, so you guys kind of know about it. There's no signs. It's in the back of the general store, totally free, totally worth checking out, because it's free. So get the most bang for your buck if you got some spare time.